Hello and welcome everyone to a brand new Anyline webinar. Today we're talking all about our brand new innovation, our tire tread scanner. A big thank you to all of you for joining us today, wherever you may be. We appreciate your time. Today's webinar will take about 25 minutes in total, leaving plenty of time at the end for your questions. So please, if you do have questions, we certainly encourage them. My name is Mark Babin. I'm the creative director here at Anyline, and I'm joined by my two colleagues today, Philip and Christian. Philip is our head of pre-sales, and Christian is a product marketing manager. They're going to be running you through the presentation, and at the very end as well, giving you a live demonstration of our tire tread scanner in action. So plenty to look forward to today. Now, before we begin, again, we do encourage questions from you. We want to have conversations with you, and we've left plenty of time at the end of this webinar for that. So at the bottom of your screen, you're going to see a Q&A button. You can go ahead and click that and type us your questions. You do have the option to send those anonymously, as you see here on the screen. Just be aware that if you do send them anonymously and we don't get to your questions during the presentation, we won't be able to reach back out and follow up on that question. So an option for you, but just so you're aware. All right, and without further ado, let's jump into this presentation. Christian, Philip, over to you.
All right, thanks Mark for the introduction. I wanted to start off this presentation by talking about a huge opportunity that we see in the market, especially for companies that are in the business of selling tires. So what we see on the slide is that there are approximately 1.4 billion vehicles in the world today, which means that there are at least 5.7 billion tires on the road today. Now, according to a study, 27% of these tires are defective or dangerous. And that means that there are approximately 1.5 billion defective tires on the market today. Now, if you are a business that is selling tires and you could, identify those tires and charge an average price of, let's say, 150 euros or dollars per tire, you could be tapping into a huge market, a 231 billion market. Now, of course, this is a huge opportunity if you're in the business of selling tires. But on the other side, it could be a huge problem, especially if you are, a fleet management company and you have to, maintain those tires. So just wanted to start off by that and kind of slide into the solution that we're offering. So a huge problem that we see that a lot of companies are having today is that they are really struggling to record and digitize tread depth efficiently. And so we at Anyline, we created a mobile tire tread scanner that captures all that data in just a matter of seconds. And my colleague Philip will show that in a few minutes. Now, what does this mean? It means that you as a company can now sell more tires, ensure that you're legally compliant, and also overcome labor challenges. Now, I wanted to also touch on why we think that the traditional way of measuring tire tread is broken. So what we see with these traditional tread depth gauges is that they are very inconsistent. So if you have 5 people doing a measurement, you usually get 5 different results. The second thing is that when you're done with this, you have to write it down on a piece of paper and then usually bring it to a computer and then type it in. So a lot of information can be lost on that road. Now, if you are looking out to the market and you want to see what kind of machines are out there, you usually find on one hand these rollover machines that can cost somewhere between $15,000 and $30,000. You also have these bigger stationary machines that can cost up to $100,000. And then you have these handheld devices that are also very expensive to purchase, but also to maintain. So those are sort of the problems that we're seeing. And now I'm going to hand over to Philip, who's going to talk a little bit about the solution.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Yeah, so we at Anyline believe that there is a better way to measure the tire tread depth. And the way how we want to do this is purely with a camera, an optical camera of any kind of mobile device. With this, we actually enable to replace specialized hardware with generic smartphones. And the way how we are doing it is we use the camera, we make a video, and then the user can slide from one side of the tire to the other side of the tire, and then we can actually get back the results. We not only get back the results in a reliable way, because we're not doing a spot measurement, we actually have a zone where we can measure the thread depth. The way how we actually get the data is way smarter, because we have it instantly available in all our systems. We don't need to manually type in the data any longer. You have it on the phone, and with the network connection, you immediately have it in your backend system, and you can do judgments or any kind of other information connecting to the tire tread depth. The good thing about this is, and we thought about this a long time, is we actually want to use standard hardware. We want to use a standard optical camera to do the tire tread depth measurement. There are other technical ways how we could have done this, but when we just use the camera of a device, that basically enables us that we can work on any kind of device. So any kind of Android or iOS device, we can transform into a professional tire diagnostic tool. So how does this work? Actually, it's a three-step process. The first step is that we can scan the tire. We will scan the tire, and I will do this live demonstration afterwards, from one side of the tire to the other side of the tire. We guide the user so that actually this movement is very easy, and we instruct him to hold the phone in the right way, so that in a couple of minutes, everyone can use the smartphone for tire tread depth measurement. After we scan the tire, the data is sent to a server and you get back the result. And with the result, you not only view the results, you can immediately see how the tire tread depth is. You can also compile a reporting. And with this reporting, you actually have the chance to get any kind of backend information. On a piece of paper, you have your 4 tires, you see immediately traffic light, green, yellow, red, and whatever you want to do based on this result. Like, for example, you could immediately offer the right tire as a replacement.
Yeah, so in a nutshell, what Anyline can help you with is, number one, help you sell more tires if you're in that business. We do that by increasing or detecting recalled tires, but also defective tires instantly. You can leverage that data then to create better targeted campaigns. And a point that I really like is now you can also allow your customers to scan the tires wherever they are. So with the SDK, you can integrate that into your app or your website and just ask your customers to scan their tires. And then, for example, if there's a problem with the tire, you can say, hey, by the way, we'll give you a 20% discount if you change your tire at our place. The second thing is that this will help you also improve your compliance and reduce your legal risks. And the third one, we help you increase efficiency and overcome labor challenges. We know that there is a huge worker shortage out there in the world, and this solution will help you and your technicians work faster, and also you won't need that many workers in the first place. So yeah.
So why does the market need a new way of tire tread depth measurement? What you can see here on the slide is we did a comparison from manual data entry versus the new way with Anyline. And manual data entry, we have seen that it typically takes around half a minute to read the tire tread depth. That not only means the time you actually need with your tire tread measurement tool to actually get the result. Because of the way how those traditional tools are in most ways designed, you also need to manually enter this information into a system. And after a lot of conversations, and we are also very happy to understand in your case how you are doing tire tread depth measurement today, we have seen that it's not just measuring it and then entering it manually into a system. Actually, what happens a lot of times is that somebody's writing it down on a piece of paper because you're in a service bay, you're actually working on the car, you're doing the tire tread depth measurement, and then you're writing it down on a piece of paper. And when you have time back in the office, you actually open up the customer record, for example, and then you type it in. And that takes way longer than half a minute. So we really want to make this smarter and faster. And that's why we, with Anyline, believe that there is a huge efficiency gain. With our solution, it basically takes around 10 seconds to get the tire tread depth scanned. It means from actually scanning the tire to have it at the right place in your systems available.
Yeah, so what does this 260% speed increase mean? It means that there's a lot of savings to be made. So we done the calculation, in this case 5 million vehicles serviced per year, and we found out that a business can save 4.2 million in wage savings. The hours that can be saved in this case is 141,000, and imagine what you could do with that extra time. So if you were to service more vehicles and more cars, you could then be gaining an extra revenue of 14.1 million each year. So just think about that for a second.
The webinar of today is all about our newest innovation, tire tread depth measurement. But with this slide, I would like to show you the whole portfolio that Anyline actually can offer. So we are on the market since around 10 years, and we have specifically chosen the automotive aftermarket as our core industry. The reason for this is we have seen that around the car, around the driver, and around the tires, there are a lot of information that need to be captured, and this is done in a manual way in many cases today. So I would like to use this slide to actually showcase you the whole portfolio that Anyline can offer. So the first thing is about the car. So when you look in the middle of the car, what we can actually capture is the license plate. Not only the license plate of US, also in Europe, for example. We are able to read the vehicle identification number. We're not only able to read the vehicle identification number out of a document, we can also read it directly from the windshield. So we put a lot of effort in actually having a high accurate wind scanning module that can get rid of reflection and very bad lighting conditions. So that's what we are able to capture from a car. We could even read, for example, the odometer with our meter reading plugin. Now let's move to the driver. So for example, we are able to read any kind of driver licenses. We have a universal module that reads driver licenses, no matter from which state they are, and also international driver licenses, for example. We are able to read vehicle registration certificates, and from the tire, we are able to read the tire sidewall information, specifically the DOT number and the tire dimension number. And then we have the tire tread. What I would like to emphasize here is it's a portfolio where you can actually choose from any kind of scanning capability that you need. Most of the scanning capabilities, namely all of the scanning capabilities despite tire tread scanning, you don't even need an internet connection, so they are offline available. The only solution where we actually need an internet connection is the tire tread scanning, because there we need to send the images to a server and get back the results because of the heavy lifting that we can't do on a phone.
So that's it for now. Now my colleague Philip is going to go and actually show you guys a live demonstration of the tire tread scanner. So just give us a few seconds and we'll be ready.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Christian. So now we are moving to the other side of the room where we have actually placed two tires. And there you see one tire with actually a good tread and here a worn out tire. And I will showcase you our tire scanning solution on both of them. For this, we have developed a dedicated demo application. And if you're interested in trying out the solution in your environment with your devices, we're happy to share that demo application with you so that you can just see how accurate it will actually perform. So now how we are actually using our scanning solution. So I will press start and then you will immediately see that it uses the camera, and we will start scanning from one side of the tire to the other side of the tire, and then we will see the results. It's important that we keep a certain distance to the tire. So for this, we have actually implemented audio-visual feedback. So you will see when the distance is okay and you will also hear it. So now we will actually start doing the first scanning.
Decrease distance. Distance okay. Distance okay. Distance okay.
So what now happened is I basically hold it at the right distance and it will move from one side of the tire to the other side of the tire. And then out of this, we have frames from multiple dimensions. And you can see here, as this is a perfectly new tire, you also see the same results everywhere, 7:30 seconds. And that's how it actually works. Also, with a visual feedback of a traffic light, so you can, of course, customize this in your environment, but this indicates that the tire is okay. So let's move on to the other tire, which is already worn out, and let's see how it performs on this tire. So let me just do the scanning here again.
Okay.
You will see we are
Distance
using the
okay.
flashlight as well.
Distance okay. Distance okay.
So that's very important for us, not only to control the distance, but also control the lighting condition. So it's important that when you're using your devices, that you choose a device that has a flashlight, because we will enforce reading it. So here you see the results. And what we also have is not only the results, but also actually a 3D depth map, where you can really see the pattern of the tire, and you can see how the scanning actually resulted in 3.9 millimeters in that case. So if you're interested in trying out the solution in your environment, of course, we are happy to share this demo application with you. Just to mention, as all our other products, this is eventually an SDK, so it can be integrated in any kind of Android or iOS app, and it will be needlessly integrated so that it's in your workflow and you will have the data immediately available where you actually need them. If you're also interested in having a live demonstration in your environment, just reach out to us. We are happy to do these demonstrations again, and we are also happy to talk about any kind of integration topics that might come up. Thank you very much, and with this, I'm now heading over to Mark for the questions.
Thank you very much for the great demonstration. Okay, let's get straight into questions. Someone is asking, does the scanner work with asymmetric or winter treads? Christian.
Yeah, thanks, Mark. That's a very good question. So yes, it shouldn't have a problem with asymmetric tires, and also yes, it's working on winter tires as well. So yes, we can scan it on those tires.
Thank you, Christian. And could we touch on tires that are perhaps wet, dirty, or even snow covered? How does the accuracy work with this situation?
Yeah, exactly. So we've done a lot of testing on wet tires, dirty tires as well, and yeah, we do a pretty good job of in those conditions. Now, of course, the newer device you have and the better camera you have, the better the results. So if we're looking at like a camera or a phone like the Samsung S20, for example, we do get really good results on both wet tires and dirty tires. And did you also ask about snow?
Yeah, let's cover that.
Yeah. So when it comes to snow, it's a little bit more tricky, of course. Like if the whole tire is covered with snow, then it's really difficult to see the grooves. So, but one advantage we have, for example, over these tread depth gauges is that they're just covering one point of the tire, and we are, as Philip mentioned, like covering a zone of the tire. So if for example there are some parts of the groove that we can't that is covered with, let's say, a rock or something like that, then it will just look at the other parts and find the tread depth.
Great, thank you very much. What about deep tread? We have someone asking for a deep tread, even up to half an inch or higher.
So for passenger tires, we can go up to 10 millimeters. And yeah, that's the furthest down we can go.
Great, thank you very much. We have a few questions coming in about cost. Can we cover the cost question with a general answer, Christian? I know we have our emails up on the screen, which of course people can get in touch with us, but can we discuss just as a general answer for cost?
Exactly. So at Anyline, we have two pricing models. So the first one is what we call a scan-based pricing model, and that is, as it is in the name, you pay per scan, and then we have the per device price model. So if you already know how many devices you have in your store, it's usually that model that you would go with. Now, for exact quotes, we would of course recommend that you write us an email, and then we can talk about that separately. Yeah, but those are the two type of pricing models that we have.
Thank you, Chris. We have a question that says, you mentioned your system offers compliance with recalls. Do you have the ability to scan sidewall of every tire to read in conjunction with the tire tread depth? So a really good question on tire sidewall information.
Exactly. So as Philip mentioned, like we have what we call different modules. So tire tread is one module, but you can combine them with the SDK. So you can start, for example, scanning the DOT number, and then you can find out if the tire has been recalled, for example, and then you can move on to scan the tread depth, for example. So you can combine them to fit into the workflow that you have. So yeah, it's a good point, and that's what we're seeing, that they're not just wanting to scan one thing, but a lot of things around the vehicle and the tire.
Great, thank you very much. A few questions coming in about accuracy. How can we best describe the accuracy of our measurements? Yeah,
exactly. So of course it varies between like what type of device you have, of course. But if we're looking at a device like the Samsung S20, which we recommend, with that type of device, we get an accuracy between 0.1 millimeter and 0.3 millimeter. I don't have that on top of my head, what that is in inches right now, but we do have a data sheet, Mark, that if people are interested, we can send that out to you. So yeah, just contact us by email, and we can send you that data sheet. But yeah, so to sum it up, it does depend on which device you're having, but the newer device with the newer camera, the better. But that's the type of accuracy that we're at, and that's the type of accuracy that we want to stay at as well, because that's super important,
Especially with the tire tread. Absolutely, great answer. Thank you very much. Will this eventually be available as a web SDK integration, or only with native applications on iOS or Android?
Yeah, so we have what we call mobile SDK, and then we have web SDK, and then cloud API. And right now it's working for Android devices, but also now iOS. So that's how far we've come, and yeah, so.
Yeah, and I think with these particular cases, it's best if we get in touch, because we can obviously do a lot depending on your specific case. And so that's an important thing to do. So if you are looking for specific integration, definitely get in touch with us, and let's keep that conversation going. Okay, good. Also a few questions coming in about commercial tires. As we mentioned, we're doing the passenger tire demonstration today. So we won't touch on the commercial truck tires, but we'll be in touch directly with you if you've asked a commercial truck tire question, and we can speak further about those tires. So we have another question about the integration. Is the tire tread scanner available for iOS system now? If yes, can we use the same license key as used before for the Android devices?
Yeah, so if you want to test it on iOS, I would recommend that you get in touch with us by email, and then we can integrate it into your system. So that's not a problem. We've done testing on iOS, and it works pretty well. So yeah, you can definitely get in touch with us, and we'll help you set that up.
Excellent, thank you very much. And a few more pricing questions coming in. Again, it is very specific, so please get in touch with us for pricing questions, and we can make sure to do that appropriately at that time. Okay, we did have a question unrelated to tire tread asking about the VIN scanner, which is a great product that Philip mentioned. Does it work with semi-trucks and trailers?
Yes, it does. And also, we can also detect the barcode. So it's not just numbers and letters, but also barcodes we can scan as well. So yeah, that shouldn't be a problem. And as Philip mentioned, we not only scan them from documents, but also directly from the vehicle. So it really helps a lot of companies that have that process. Maybe you're scanning the VIN code, but also license plate, and yeah, so that shouldn't be a problem.
Excellent. Thank you very much for that. Few more questions coming in. Do you think future development will allow your software to detect alignment wear, whether it's toe feathering, or allow shoulders to be scanned by the circumference to detect heel and toe wear? Very interesting question there.
Yeah, it's a super interesting question, and one that I like a lot, because what we can detect is actually the if it's uneven, the tire wear. So based on the shape of the tire, we can give recommendations whether you should check the wheel alignment, but also the tire pressure. So that's something that is coming up very soon. So yeah, it's something that we can do. So both wheel alignment and tire pressure. Now, of course, we can give recommendations, right, based on the shape of the tire. But that is something that we can do from a simple scan of the tire profile.
And slightly related to that, Christian, obviously we capture 3 unique points, but if that tire has 2 treads or 4 different treads and grooves, how does it calculate the 3 out of that? Because we can measure then again different toe wear and alignment issues.
Yeah, so we separate it into 3 parts, and then the middle, like if it covers two grooves, then it takes the average of that. If you need to customize it, so you want to not have it in 3 sections, but maybe in 6 sections or less or more, I would recommend that you get in touch with us, and then we can work on a way that we can customize it for you. So that's something that we found out the more we talk with companies, that there are different requirements. So we're super interested to learn more about that, and yeah, so just send your email or send an email to us, and then we'll get in touch with you.
And again, those emails are on the screen for everybody, so please make note of them and get in touch with us so we can answer your questions specifically. On that note of customization, Christian, of course, we showed inches today, and we showed the green light, red light, orange light system about the tire wear and the measurements. That's, of course, customizable, right?
Exactly. So in the SDK, you can change the settings so that you will get red lights depending on whatever settings you want, and because it depends, for example, from country to country or state, for example. So yeah, that is something that you can change in the SDK.
Great, thank you very much. And we're already having a few emails come through, so thank you very much for those. Please keep them coming if you do have specific questions. Again, those emails are on the screen. We have a question asking whether or not we white label our tire tread solution.
Yes, so that's totally fine. It's an SDK, so you can integrate it into your app, and then it just works in the background there. So yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, as far as anyone and any user will know, it's your solution integrated into your devices, and that's a great feature to have. Okay, asking about some future plans. Would you be able to detect separation in the future? Perhaps if you can scan the zone, you can detect any undulations in the tread, and as well as sidewall injuries. We've had this question a few times in the past as well, detecting damage or detecting potential damage. So another great question there, Christian.
Yes, so I mean, we're super interesting to learn more about each use case. So if you have specific things that you would like us to detect in the future, then please get in contact with us. We are working on full sidewall scanning, and one of the things that we hear a lot is like to detect damage on the sidewall. So that is something that we do have in mind, and that for sure will come in the future. But yeah, so just stay in touch and see what's coming up in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. We'd love to see those use cases, and we'd be happy to discuss what you're specifically looking for, and maybe some of the images or samples that you have. I think that would be great for us to learn, as well as the leader on this solution, for us to develop at a faster rate. So if you do have those cases, specific use cases, it'd be great to be in touch. All right, we're going to wait to see if any more questions come in, but it's been a great round of questioning. Any final questions from anybody? Please feel free to type them, or again, we are getting emails directly, and so we appreciate that. Okay, it doesn't look like any more questions are coming in. Again, please reach out to us via email if you do have any questions specific to your use case. A lot of what we discussed today is going to be unique to you. And so we'd like those to be addressed, obviously, as quickly as possible. This recording will be sent to each and every one of you today, shortly after the wrap up of this webinar. So you'll get it in your inboxes. You can share it with colleagues and keep the momentum going. But with no more questions, we're going to bring this webinar to a close. Thank you all so much for joining us. You'll get an email from us very soon, and we hope to stay in touch. Bye for now, everyone.